Monday game is next.
You know, it's really a huge, overwhelming thing when you win an All-Ireland.
Championship was and is and always will be everything to a player.
I suppose you give the commitment because it's probably the most important thing in your life.
And it's just such a really Irish thing. It couldn't be replicated anywhere else in the world.
If you win, you're a hero, and if you lose, well, you're an orphan, and that's the way it is.
I love this game too much to let any people get to me or get to the game I love.
What can you get for 29 cent a day?
Give Over's fighting back with the Benny Boiler on the near side, has the advantage as they go to the line. The Benny Boiler wins the National. Give Over's up to the line. Mick Canal is going to win his first Irish derby. Galileo completes the big derby double. This is as good as it gets. Galileo wins it impressively. Second is Morshney. On the near side, Alexander Bankwood's going to win it. Alexander Bankwood wins it. 4 in a row in the Hennessy for Willie.
For 29 cent a day, we bring you all the excitement of the races on RTE.
What are you doing? They're not yours, they're Billy's! Hey, stop that! No! Wow! Give it back! Oh, Billy! Craig! They're stealing your Haribo! Right. Yeah, if you want Billy's Haribo, you're gonna have to go through me! Huh? You're not so big now, are you?
We'll do it again after lunch.
When they're filming out here, it takes as long as it takes. You can't just pop down the old supermarket, can you? We can't run out of anything. Most of all, washing up liquid. New Thicker Theory cleans so well. It lasts longer than any other liquid, up to 50% longer. So, while a cheaper liquid would run out here, same amount of Theory keeps on going and does all the extras as well. New Thicker Theory washes up to 50% more dishes than the best in the West.
Targets in sight. Attack!
Red alert. Red alert. Germans are attacking.
Reinforce defenses.
Team Actimel.
Team Actimel! Let's go!
While pride of all, Donegal take on the Dubs.
Hello and welcome to day 2 of the All-Ireland football quarter-finals at Croke Park. Well, yesterday in the first game we saw a dramatic draw between Sligo and Armagh, and in the second quarter-final it was a big win for Kerry. Cork's arrival here today as Munster champions was controversial to say the least. They won the match, failed the maths, but survived the appeal. No matter, they're here. Mayo didn't know where the posts were in Castlebar. Have they brought their shooting boots to Croke Park? In the other game, Croker has been a happy hunting ground for the Dubs already this year. Can today be more of the same? But Donegal showed the last day they have no fear of big reputations in the East. The Dubs beware this afternoon. Well, not surprisingly, another great atmosphere in Croke Park again today for what we anticipate will be more top-class entertainment of the variety that we were treated to yesterday. You know, one of the great things about the qualifying system, it may give counties a second chance, but today there's no room for error, and all the previous effort of the summer could just go up in smoke. Well, with me here in studio, Colin Corkery and ex-Mayo star Kevin McStay. Gentlemen, you're very welcome. Kevin, we talked last night in the programme about Mayo's prospects. Today, you've been sleeping on it, you've been thinking about it. What's the view today?
Well, if you listen to the Mayo people that are gathering, still very confident. But I was up in the press room before that, and a lot of the journalists are saying very strongly with Cork, which is, I suppose, not surprising. Mayo do come in as serious enough underdogs, it would appear. but I give them a really good sporting chance, Michael. I haven't changed my view from last night. The key battle is going to be Corkery and Haney. The heat on the pitch is serious today.
Yes.
It's very, very warm down there, and I would imagine that won't suit Colin that much. I think the Mayo defence is good, as I said last night. They're pacey, energetic, and this is going to go down for the full 70 minutes.
And a big factor, I think, also, Kevin, in it, I was talking to some of the Mayo players during the week. They're determined not to have one of these bad days at Croke Park like they've had in the past.
Yeah, sometimes I think there can be too much made of it. You know, Mayo have done well in Croke Park in the last 6-7 years in certain games. I mean, bear in mind we were in 3 All-Ireland finals in that period. People seem to forget that. So we've had good days here. Sure, I know the point you're making. We've had wides on critical occasions. I would be hopeful. It's a pretty new team that Pat Holmes put together, that they will adjust well to Croke Park. They won a National League final here last year, Michael. Let's not forget that. And that they would adjust quickly to it and go out, enjoy themselves and take the game to Cork. That's really what I'd be looking for, that they get stuck in quickly and take it on to Cork.
Colin O'Rourke, just looking briefly to the second game, the game between Dublin and Donegal, and I think we should make our comments here in the context of recognising that Tommy Lyons, the Dublin manager, is actually watching this game on television today, because Tommy has taken a little bit ill over the weekend, as we've been saying to him before. You know, Tommy, you're working too hard. If you just settle for $1 million a year, then you might just be able to do things a bit more gently. But what about this game? The fact that Tommy isn't here today will be, I suppose, a little factor in the back of the Dubs' minds.
It will. It could work in both ways. You know, we'd all love to see Tommy here, and we wish him well. But, you know, sometimes the manager missing is an upsetting thing on the players. They like to have the stability, the same routine, the same voice speaking to them before they go out on the pitch. Now, the other side of it is, it could be, let's do it for Tommy. You know, he has been the central figure in Dublin's renaissance this year. Yeah. So, like, the players probably feel, especially a lot of the younger players that he has brought in, we owe him one. And so the best present that they can give Tommy, I suppose, is to make sure that they are back here in 3 or 4 weeks' time when Tommy is hopefully out and about and well. OK, thank you, gentlemen, for the moment. Well, now, referring back to that first game here again, our commentary team for that first match of the afternoon are Darren Maloney and Tony Davis. Well, they are down pitchside, ready to give us their thoughts about the big game.
Well, thank you, Michael. Good afternoon and welcome pitchside here at Croke Park. The conditions, as you can see, absolutely glorious. It's a fabulous day, very, very hot, maybe a little bit cooler than yesterday with that nice breeze blowing, which the players will appreciate as the afternoon progresses. The crowd have been coming in for hours. They're really enjoying these wonderful, almost Indian summer-like conditions. It's a gorgeous day here at Croke Park. We expect around 78,500 people in here for these two matches. We are, of course, all about Cork and Mayo. There's a great sense of occasion about this. Tony Davis here with me. Tony, it is a wonderful Irish sporting occasion.
Oh, it's fantastic. It reminds me of when we played Mayo in the 1989 final here. Again, a fantastic occasion, and the colour and the atmosphere here is outstanding, and the players will certainly rise to that.
Now, one of the big battles today, David Haney against Colin Corkery. Who's going to win that?
Hard to say. Colin has been quite inconsistent in his performance here in Cork Park down the years, but he's playing so well this year, you'd have to favour Colin. David Haney is a fine footballer as well, has done very well since he's gone back from half-back into the full-back line, so that's going to be a key battle. Met both teams yesterday evening. They're both very, very confident. There's huge confidence in both camps, so it's hard to know how this one is going to go. They're very inconsistent, both teams, but I just have to favour Cork. I think Cork have good forwards. They have to help Colin out and get a few more scores than they have, but in the end of the day, this could be a Cork victory.
OK, Tony, thank you very much indeed. That's it from us for the moment. The match underway very shortly. Back to you, Michael.
It is indeed. Thank you very much, Darren Maloney. Well, of course, a lot of Mayo supporters have made a weekend out of it here at Croke Park, with 2 other Western teams in action yesterday. Well, I'm sure they've been enjoying themselves over the past couple of days, even if some past visits to Dublin for big matches haven't always ended in joy for the county. However, today is another day and another opportunity, indeed from both sides, here at Croke Park.
This Cork team have beaten us before. I remember back in, I think it was 99, the semi-final, and people, you know, still remember, you know, to 92, the drubbing we got from Cork. You know, they have got the upper hand on us, no doubt about it. And I suppose there's nothing to hide on both teams. We know each other, you know, we've played each other over the years. There's nothing they can hide and nothing we can hide.
I think we've many strengths, like, I mean, I suppose we showed all our strengths maybe against Tipperary. Hopefully that will show again. And we've a very good forward line. Colin Corkery, he's an obvious choice. He's a huge strength for us. But even beyond him, like we have many forwards, we've good backs and a good midfield. I mean, we've good all-around solid base team.
It's a big game for Mayo.
We finished very disappointingly in the National League against Tyrone, and went out to a bitter end against Galway. And we've come back strong in the last 3 games, although we haven't won very convincingly. But our supporters will be apprehensive about us going to Croke Park on Monday, whether or not we can come away with the win. You know.
They are very experienced side. They have a good mixture. They've brought in a few of the under-21s that have been successful on the 21 grade. They seem to have a nice blend there, and certainly this year, like, they can take heart from their performances, like, and they have been impressive. The last 2 games, they've scored 20 points. That's no mean achievement by any team, and certainly they're going the right direction, and it's a very difficult game for us, you know. We've certainly shown a level of inconsistency against Tipperary. I mean, the first day we were damn lucky to come out with a draw and that day, and we were very happy with the draw. All fellas wanted to prove a point the second day, and they went out and they competed hard and tough and strong, and that's what you need to be able to do if you want to be successful. So that day we were leading in the half-time by 9 points, and we went on to win the game by 19, so it was encouraging to see that. I think it's an advantage for us that we haven't lost so far. Mayo have, but we'll see how it goes. Certainly their last 2 games would give them a lot of confidence. I'm sure that they'll be confident going out there that they can do it, and to have the experience, and they have a lot of things going for them. And as I said, it's a game, it's on the day, and whoever will take their chances on the day will win.
Once you get 2 or 3 games underneath your belt, you get confidence, players get confidence. You know, it's that winning feeling that's good.
The storybook goes that Cork should win on Monday, you know, and they beat us, as you say, in '89 in the All-Ireland final, and beat us very, very badly in an All-Ireland semi-final as well. So I suppose we owe them one, but it doesn't always go that way. But I believe if we play to our top form, we should be there or thereabouts.
Yeah, that's the view from Mayo and Cork, and that Cork-Mayo game coming up shortly. But just for a little while, we're going to look a bit further forward to the meeting of Dublin and Donegal in our second match. Now, the commentary on that game is by Marty Morrissey and Martin Kearney, and we join them on the side of the pitch right now.
Thank you very much, Michael. Well, yes, indeed, the big talking point here is that Tommy Lyons will not be managing the Dublin side from the dressing rooms and indeed from the sideline here. Reliable sources informed me last night that he was not well, but it was only this morning when I spoke to Tommy myself that it was confirmed that he's been in hospital since Saturday evening with stomach pains. We wish Tommy the best. He informed the players last night. The Dublin players are aware that they'll be without their manager. They're expecting Paul Caffrey or Dave Billings to take charge of the team here today and win the Bannister jersey around the sideline. But certainly it's a big blow to Dublin, and we wish Tommy Lyons a very speedy recovery. All of GA, all of Dublin, indeed his colleagues in RT that work with him on the Sunday game are greatly disappointed, but we wish you a very speedy recovery. Joining me is Martin Kearney. Martin, a big blow not to have Tommy Lyons because he's a charismatic figure. He's a very likeable guy.
A hugely likeable guy, charismatic, messianic, you name it, Marty, he has it. And his hands-on approach on the sideline is really inspirational. Looking at him in the Leinster final, he was so animated coming in and off the pitch, and he really has infused so much enthusiasm into the Dublin team. He has radically changed their style of play as well, but he's given them this self-belief, and his intimidating presence, if you want to put it that way, on the line today will be greatly missed. And to him, like from the people in Castlebar as well, where he's a native of, we all send him our best wishes and hope that he's out of hospital soon.
Will it be another motivational factor, though, for Dublin?
Well, certainly if they're missing a motivational factor, they have it now in bucketfuls. And certainly it'll be a do it for Tommy day today as far as the Dublin team are concerned. And it could be the actual edge that they need to put one over Donegal, because I think Donegal are going to be a very difficult nut to crack.
As Dara described earlier, it's a beautiful day here in Croke Park. Conditions ideal for football. Where do you see it going?
Well, it depends, I think, how the respective full-back lines do. I think Donegal full-back line is going to have a very difficult time on a very vibrant Dublin full-forward line, of whom Alan Brogan in particular has been outstanding. At the other end of the pitch, the Dublin cornerbacks, I thought Barry Cahill and Coleman Goggins struggled in the last game against Kildare, and they need to be very tight today on Brendan Devaney and Adrian Sweeney if they are to win. Probably it'll come down as usual to the midfield battle, because if the ball is going in sufficiently to the full-forward lines, whoever gets that ball going in is the team that's going to win, and I think myself Donegal may get the edge today.
Indeed, Martin Kearney will be joining me in the commentary position. It's a beautiful day in Croke Park. Throw-in time for Dublin-Donegal quarter-final is 4:15.
Yeah, I think Tommy Martin Kearney said you were messianic there, not a messer, just to make that clarification for you. Now, just like the Cork-Mayo game brings to mind some past exchanges between the two counties, it's also exactly 10 years since Donegal's famous win over the Dubs in the All-Ireland final. Well, Dublin had to wait another 3 years to get their hands on Sam, and indeed both counties have been a bit skimpy on the trophy collection since then. Well, this August, however, the window of opportunity is opening again.
Progress so far. I've gone beyond what you would have dreamt, and fair play to the lads. Have put in a lot of work, and I think it's paid off. We lost Ulster final, which was a big blow, but in retrospect it actually was maybe beneficial to us, you know, because we understood more about ourselves and learnt more about ourselves, and we put it to good use for the Meath game.
Punch down from Cosgrove, comes to Brogan, gets inside, off the post, and Dublin are back in business.
If we'd lost another Leinster title, that was a young team. They would have also now had the loser monkey on their back. There was a lot of those young lads hadn't lost Leinster finals before. They'd won them at minor, and you know, together with the blend of the youth and experience, and I was just really thrilled with the Kieran Wheelers and the Paddy Christies and, you know, Darren Home, all these men who had lost a lot of them, Pather Andrews for God's sake, you know. And it was great that those guys finally to get a Leinster medal in their pocket, and we're hoping now that come next Monday that will either re-energise them to do better things, or they'll be flat and they say, you know, hey, you know, that's our lot for this year. I think it's not. I think there's more in them. I think I'll be looking for more out of them.
Back to Roper. Jim McGuinness is available. Going for the score himself. Lofting it brilliantly high and putting it over the bar. Jim McGuinness getting his first point.
Well, I suppose, you know, going up to Dublin and getting a victory in Croke Park meant a lot to the team. I think, you know, in general, we're a pretty young team, with the exceptions of a few of us, you know. So it was encouraging to get the result, you know, and it sort of sets us up now in good stead for the quarter-final.
At the end of the day, Dublin aren't going to hand us the game, and we're not going to hand it to them, so it's going to be the team that wants it the most and who actually reacts better under pressure and takes the right options that'll win this game.
Yeah, Donegal play a very different type of football than we play, and the two styles will be very contrasting. And you know, I think it will be a good game of football. I played Donegal in the league in '98 in the semi-final. We had a really cracking game against them. We played Donegal and Dublin here in the league in February, and it was a cracking game. First game in Parnell Park, full house, and it was really a great game of football. And I know Mickey Moran was disappointed that day some of his players have played, but I'm sure he's not too disappointed now, having got into the last 8. And you know, I think it's going to be a good game of football. Yes, of course, some team has to win it. I just want players to go out and give it a lash, be they Donegal or Dublin, and hopefully we get the bounce of the ball that we'll win it by a point or two. But you know, it's going to be very difficult no matter who wins it.
Of course it is, and that's our cue to take a commercial break before the action begins for the afternoon here at Croke Park. So join us in just a few moments for Cork versus Mayo.
And there's no one I'd rather be.
Never ever drink and drive. Could you live with the shame? From the National Safety Council, supported by AXA Insurance.
The sports dress. It's not a three-piece suit. It's proven to help top athletes go 33% longer. Right, push it, push it, push it, push it.
It's McAlowen. Oh, what a finish! The striker supreme.
When you need a change of pace, wanna put a smile into your day, got your favorite place. When you wanna just break away, time after time, feel good, feel fine. McDonald's, every time a good time.
Oh no, we're down in Sector 7.
Hi, Shane! That's the 5th time this month you've flown from Dublin. Do you love us that much? Travel value.
I thought you could only shop there if you were going somewhere foreign.
No.
What?
With serious savings at Travel Value, Look how much I saved on this. you'll use any excuse to get airport shopping.
Oh, I get it. So you're not here because you miss your niece and nephew.
Julia.
You are babysitting.
Travel Value Airport Shopping. Life's luxuries for less for all flyers to all destinations.
Don't wait up.
After a hectic day, curl up and watch your favourite movie on a Sony widescreen TV, now on special offer at Discount Electrical, Mountjoy Square, Dublin, where quality counts.
It's sale time at Woody's DIY, with all garden furniture and barbecues reduced to clear.
Dunstore's half-priced summer sale with further reductions and even more items at half price. Dunstore's half-price summer sale now on.
A short hop from Douglas and Cork city centres, Pembroke Wood in Passage West is a beautiful development of 3- and 4-bedroom luxury homes. Contact Keane Mahoney Smith or Colin Downing for further details.
Team taking to the field, getting onto the bench, of course, for the traditional photograph. Number 14, Colin Corkery, not just their captain here today, of course, but also their influential full forward. And the feeling is amongst Cork supporters and indeed neutrals, if Colin Corkery can reproduce the kind of form at Croke Park that he does on a regular basis in Munster, and particularly at Páirc Uí Chaoimh, then Cork could take some stopping today. Indeed, Colin Moore, just looking through the Cork team, just looking at some of the names of that team, I mean, there are fine footballers there who should be perhaps delivering more.
Yes, well, the one consistent factor about Cork is their inconsistency, and we've spoke about it before. They've played 2 matches very well, 2 matches very poorly. One against Tipperary when they were dreadful, and one where they just annihilated them. And the same thing happened with Kerry. Now, you might say today is their day for a bad game. Now, they've changed their team quite a bit. You know, they've moved Martin Cronin back. Graham Canty has gone into a problem midfield. Michael O'Sullivan has gone. Alan Cronin has gone off the team. His hairstyle wouldn't suit today anyway. There's no doubt about that.
A bit warm under that,
yes.
mane of hair.
And Joe Cavan and Colin Corkery. Now, Joe is getting on, and wide open spaces of Croke Park won't suit him too well either. And it'll be interesting if James Nallen takes one of his big gallops forward, whether Joe will be able to stick with him.
Well, funnily enough, I was just going to say that, Kevin, you know, that is the factor, like James Nallen, the Mayo captain, famous for those soloing runs. He bursts up through the field. But a day like today, as Colin said, it's not a great day for backs, especially, or for midfielders to be galloping around the place.
Yeah, well, it's hot. James, as the years have rolled by, he's not as seen as much flying up through the middle, but still remains a very...
He talks it through more than he runs.
Yes. He spreads it a bit more these days, but still a hugely influential figure for us, for Mayo, and a good captain, and I'm delighted that he's back playing in his best position, which is centre half-back. A lot of pace and urgency and leadership from that position from him.
They would say, like in any team, and particularly in Gaelic, up through the middle of the field. If you're strong up through the middle of the field, you have a great chance. With Nallen there, with Haney behind him, also at midfield with David Brady, you know, that's a good line there.
Yeah, well, David Brady, the one thing, he's been scoring 3 or 4 points in games. He's been a great presence. But what he needs to do for Mayo today is win the ball in the middle of the field. That's a midfielder's first job. A lot of midfielders nowadays are getting flashy because they're appearing on the scoreboard. But what you need is a fella like Darragh O'Shea who does the donkey work and gets the ball forward and forgets about the flashy stuff. And David Brady today needs to win that midfield battle in the middle for Mayo. And if he scores a point or 2 on top of it, that's a bonus.
Coming back, Kevin, to the Mayo forwards, we mentioned them on the introduction there. I mean, they've had a few bad days, but God almighty, against Galway and Castlebar this year was one of the worst I'd seen. I mean, Galway were actually saying, here, beat us, and they just couldn't do it.
Yeah, it was very demoralising leaving Castlebar that evening, for sure, for all Mayo followers. But they've regrouped, they've kept at it. They've been getting very decent scores, Michael, in the qualifiers. Very decent scores. I mentioned earlier, they're a very young team. I had a lot of these guys last year, under 21, and the year before.
they won't be too worried about what people say about Mayo forward lines and so on. They'll get on with it. And bear in mind that MacDonald and young Mortimer are in the subs, two cracking forward subs to have. I mean, I wouldn't like to be a forward that stoops to tie his laces today, because he'd be whipped off to get MacDonald in, I'm sure of that. He'd be in very, very quick. Any sort of poor performance by any of the starting six.
And if MacDonald hits one of the good days that he hits, then he's very impressive.
I'm sure, you know, I say this to people, it must be every coach's nightmare to show up and see that Mayo are going to start shooting and scoring, because I can definitely say they're going to win more possession than Cork. They always win loads, tucks of possession, and it's the execution lets us down by time. So always comes a day when people get inspired, and Croke Park is a fabulous stadium to get inspired in these days, and I'd be very hopeful that they'll give a good account of themselves.
I think you're talking about big factors here in Croke Park anymore, being athleticism and speed. I think they're the two things, because I think more important than the actual lengthening of the pitch, Michael, is the actual width.
Well, the width is extraordinary.
And I think that's where Kerry really scored yesterday in the width. Now, we saw the first game played down the middle, and then we saw Kerry throwing the ball wide and really hurting Galway on the flanks yesterday. And that's the way for Mayo, I think, to play. They must spread the game out, because I'd say they probably do have more pace than Cork. Now, I still fancy Cork to win, but I think if Pat Holmes is going to go about it, I think the wider the game and run at Cork is the way to do it.
Well, I have to say, standing on the side of the pitch yesterday, if you were a wing back or a wing forward or something like that, required to, I mean, I'd be looking for a taxi to walk in.
Well, it's serious with. And of course, the discipline is to get the ball wide. I mean, that's. I was watching the game from our high vantage point here, and they do tend to go down the middle a lot of the stronger, bigger teams. So the cue is there for Mayo to get the ball out wide. Maloney, if he gets a run today, Michael, you'll see the serious pace this guy has. McMenamin is no slouch, even though he's pushed on a bit. Gill, quite speedy. They have a bit of pace, Colin.
Yes.
And the Cork team don't strike me as a team that's in magnificent physical shape. And every minute out in that heat today, Michael, is going to be testing.
OK, gentlemen, well, we've talked about the heat, we've talked about the teams, but the talking is about to end, because the play is about to begin. It's Cork and Mayo then in this third quarter-final here at Croke Park this weekend, and I know we're repeating ourselves and perhaps overstating the point, but it is truly a magnificent setting for this match, and the crowd will swell as this game goes on as well, as the Dubs and Donegal supporters begin to arrive. So then let's join our commentary team for this match. Tony Davis is hopeful, I'm sure, from a Cork point of view. Darragh Maloney is the neutral.
Yes, indeed, Michael, thank you. Welcome back to our commentary position. It is a gorgeous day here, as we said earlier on. The crowd a little bit slow in arriving in, but there's still a little bit of time before the throw-in, as Colin Corkery, the Cork captain, goes through his pre-match talk to a very united Cork team. Cork extremely convincing winners of the Munster final replay. The starting 15, the same as that which started against Tipperary. Sean Levis, who plays Junior B football with his club, stays in the corner. Owen Sexton at right half back. Martin Cronin's days of playing in the half forwards over for now. Graham Canty remains in the middle alongside Nicholas Murphy. Now, Joe Kavanagh is back to his best at centre half forward. He loves this stage, while Maurice McCarthy is playing out of his skin at left half. Colin Corkery's rebirth has been one of the stories of the year. If he gets the right ball, Mayo will be in big trouble. Fionnán Murray and Philip Clifford have been in and out of matches so far this year. This is the game to put in a full 70. 29 points he's scored in the championship so far, 7 the last day against Tipperary. This is Mayo's 5th championship match of 2002. They've had only 9 days to recover from their narrow win over Tipperary in round 4 of the qualifiers. The team, though, has grown after their Connacht semi-final exit at the hands of Galway. There is the back division, midfield and the goalkeeper. One of the 2 changes to the side from Ennis is the inclusion of Gary Ruan at left corner back for Pat Coyne. David Haney is expecting a busy afternoon on Corkery, but the half-backs will attempt to cut off the supply. James Nallen replaces the injured Alan Roach in the centre of the line. David Brady and David Tiernan will hope to get on top at midfield, but Pat Holmes has resisted the temptation to introduce Kieran MacDonald after his 4-point haul against Tipperary. The Mayo forwards, easy targets for past failures. Trevor Mortimer, as important as ever, he scored 6 points so far. James Horan kicked 5 points in Ennis. Brian Maloney is slowly hitting the form expected of him when he first came onto the panel 3 years ago. Well, it's a huge day for Pat Holmes, the Mayo manager. Very relaxed in the build-up. The same can be said indeed of Larry Tompkins, the Cork manager, who knows this particular stage very, very well. Tony Davis, what are your thoughts now as we approach the throw-in?
I think both teams will really look forward to this. I think the beauty of this is the inconsistency of both teams, and in particular the forward lines to convert the possession they have. Mayo down the years haven't ever put teams away at this level, and someday they'll have to do it. From a Cork point of view, maybe they won't do it today. And Cork, it's all about Colin Corkery really, and helping him to try and get the scores.
OK, Tony, well, just to tell you, Mayo won the toss a few minutes ago. They will play from right to left. As we mentioned earlier, there's a little bit of a breeze. Mayo will play into that breeze in the first half. You also got a shot of the referee, John Bannon from Longford. We're about to get underway. The third Bank of Ireland All-Ireland Senior Football quarter-final. There's the referee again, a very experienced official. Took charge of Cork and Kerry in Killarney earlier in this campaign. So here we go, midfield. Well, a lot will happen there. Mayo will hope to get on top with Tiernan and Brady. Graham Canty was very lively the last day against Tipperary and Páirc Uí Chaoimh. This is Owen Sexton playing at right half back. Brendan Ger O'Sullivan. Now Ronan McCarthy, the Cork centre half back. It's long, it's direct, but it's stopped by Kenneth Mortimer. Back helping out is Aidan Higgins. Higgins pushed off it by Fionnán Murray. Free to Mayo. Not a short one from Kenneth Mortimer. Gary Ruan. Oh, Mayo lose it. Over elaborating. James Nallen is the captain. Now there's space for David Brady. Brady charging forward, has options left and right. Colin McMenamin was there, goes into the corner to Stephen Carolan. This is good football from Mayo, and another gap opens for David Brady. Takes the point, did the sensible thing. Just a minute on the watch. And that was super football from Mayo. David Brady started the whole thing. Mayo looked to have lost the ball, but this was a lovely finish, and at this early stage of the game, important just to get themselves off the mark. That was an excellent point, and it'll just settle them down.
Yes, that was a terrific score by David Brady. He had James Horan as an option inside him there, but I suppose it's early in the game and all he wanted to do was get a score on the board at this stage.
David Tiernan missed it. There was fingers on it from Nicholas Murphy. James Nallen drills it forward into that breeze, remember. Brian Maloney looking for it and getting it. Sean Levis is beside Maloney at the moment. James Horan. Now Trevor Mortimer. Mayo really have started very nicely, but that is a sky ball. Stephen Carolan under it with Anthony Lynch, and it's collected by Martin Cronin. Cork really struggling just to get to the pace of this game at the moment. Mayo driving it. Cork will look to do the same. That was Martin Cronin's clearance. Joe Kavanagh with the flick. Maurice McCarthy under pressure from James Nallen. McCarthy from Nemo Rangers, and the marking is poor on Brendan Ger O'Sullivan. He lost Noel Keneally. Scored 2 goals the first day against Tipperary. Here's Colin Corkery winding it up. Good contact on it, but it's going wide. Cork's first wide. They looked to get the ball to Corkery. They got it to him.
That's going to be Cork's game plan all day. Colin inside the 40-yard line. Everything they get, they're going to try and channel it through him. It'll be up to Fionnán Murray and Philip Clifford in the corners, just to try and help out and to loop around and give him options if he's in trouble.
David Tierney went near for Peter Burke, but he drilled it right down the centre. Graham Canty will be full of running on this very, very hot day. Joe Kavanagh gets away from Nallen. Kavanagh, a look at the post. And that drops invitingly for Philip Clifford to follow in, but Peter Burke took it. And now it's Noel Keneally. David Brady, the layoff for Colin McMenamin. Martin Cronin and McMenamin fouled the ball. Cronin wants to take it quickly. Now Fionnán Murray. Kenneth Mortimer with him. Murray looks to go round the corner, and it came off the post. A chance. Joe Kavanagh, brilliant save, but it's still there, and it's gone over for a point. Well, that was a wonderful stop by Peter Burke, but a chance for Joe Kavanagh. It's his 3rd point of the championship, but really goal was very much on his mind.
Yes, and he's very good presence of mind in front of the goal like that. He never panicked. It was a fantastic save, and he took his point in the end. But Cork will be encouraged by the running off the ball of Fionnán Murray. Sometimes Fionnán is quite static in there, but that time he showed for the ball, came back off the post, a great save, and he had the presence of mind just to flick it over the bar.
Great reactions from Peter Burke at having watched that one come off the upright. Horace McCarthy again drives it forward. Brendan O'Sullivan couldn't get to it. Now Colin McMenamin coming deep to get the ball, and there's big spaces on this huge pitch. That was aimed towards Trevor Mortimer. Ronan McCarthy with the interception. The free will go Mayo's way. The ball was played on the ground. Mortimer moves back into position. A little bit careless from Trevor Mortimer. A good block down from McCarthy, I think it was. Brian Maloney is full of running for Mayo, using his soccer skills, but left the ball after him. Kieran O'Sullivan, good full back play. Martin Cronin back to Kevin O'Dwyer. Now it's a tricky ball for the defender Gary Ruan, but got lucky with it. Philip Clifford was just beside him. Aidan Higgins. Lots of space around the middle for Mayo, and they're exploiting it at the moment. Stephen Carolyn looking to get through. Fouled by Anthony Lynch. Lynch didn't get out in front. Carolyn had his hands on the ball, and this should be a certain point for Mayo. And James Gill, has he got it right? No, he has not. Well, that is a sensational miss for a player who scored 6 points in the championship so far, but again, it's that thing of taking a free out of the hands, or perhaps the nerves just got the better of it.
Yes, it reminds me of the Connacht final there, out the way they missed those scores. Every score is vitally important. As Sligo found yesterday, if they had got those scores from the frees, they could have won the game.
David Haney has won the first 2, or lost the first 2 to Colin Corkery. Corkery looking for a point this time. The crowd behind like it. It just trickles over the bar. That's his first of the afternoon, his 30th point of the championship, and really, well, David Haney doesn't need a lesson from us, but he was not out in front of Colin Corkery. The movement was brilliant. Look at the few yards he stole on the fullback. A glance at the post, and we've become so used to seeing that this year. A lovely point from Colin Corkery. Cork leading by 2-1. James Gill will have that miss on his mind for a few minutes. Got a free. High for James Horan to compete for that. Kieran O'Sullivan there. Anthony Lynch beaten to the ball by Stephen Carolyn. Now nobody in the centre for the pullback. Here's some movement now. Ronan McCarthy with Trevor Mortimer. Cork come away with the ball. Sean Levis. Philip Clifford out in front of Gary Ruan, having to come very, very deep. That line is the Cork 65-metre line. Sean Levis. Brendan O'Sullivan pointing to the right cornerback, telling him where he wants it. It's inside to Graham Canty. A mistake by Canty. Corkery just couldn't get it from David Haney. Haney losing it to Colin Corkery, who stayed with him all the way. Graham Canty of Cork. There's been a lot in the first 7.5 minutes of this game. This is Martin Cronin. Cronin looking for Brendan O'Sullivan. Gary Ruan committed. 3 around Philip Clifford, but nobody tight enough. Clifford around the corner. That's a brilliant point. Absolutely superb. He's been criticised during the year for not scoring enough. That's his 3rd point of the championship. He scored a goal against Tipperary, but a joy to watch, Tony.
Yes, he has terrific talent in there, and when he gets it on his left leg, about 3 years ago his form was fantastic. It dipped a bit, but he's playing very well in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
First championship meeting between Cork and Mayo since '99. 4th in all. Cork have won the previous 3 in '89, '94 and '99. Fionnán Murray. Joe Kavanagh providing the running. He's full of running. James Nallen goes with him. And who last touched it? Well, the linesman decides it was Joe Kavanagh.
that last score that Cork got came directly because Colin Corkery worked back. It's a part of his game that people don't realise. He works very, very hard, took the ball up and set up the score.
James Gill competing for that and winning it too, and winning a free. Mayo move it quickly. Colin McMenamin almost operating as a third midfielder at the moment. McMenamin. Brian Maloney, a fine take. Nobody going with him. Maloney takes his point. That's a very, very good score. Direct football from Mayo, all from McMenamin's ball in. The marking a little bit lax on Brian Maloney, and he didn't need asking twice from there. On his left boot as well. Just a point between the sides. Cork try and open up Mayo again. Maurice McCarthy. David Brady is with him. McCarthy, very, very strong runner. Aidan Higgins trying to get the ball from him now. They both failed, Brady and Higgins. Colin Corkery. Hungry for the ball. He's demanded the ball from his teammates all through the year. Brendan Gerald O'Sullivan, that's disappointing for the Cork right half forward, straight into the arms of Gary Ruan. Now it's James Gill from Westport. Well, he had the right idea but the wrong execution. Kieran O'Sullivan beating James Horan to it by a number of yards. Finan Murray. Cork trying to play the corners. Philip Clifford has gone to take it. Gary Ruan is with him. Corkery waits in the centre, but Clifford decides he doesn't need him. He's got 1 point already in the game. Where is he going? Needs some support, or does he? Well, Ruan's persistence paid off, but Clifford still has it. Unbelievable. The referee is letting it go. Mayo have the ball and they've got a free out. That was amazing. The ball just seemed to be stuck to his hands, and the Mayo defenders just couldn't get it from him.
Yes, but he got no support whatsoever from the other Cork forwards. It's a big pitch and you cannot be isolated on your own like that inside. They need players running off him. But again, it was very good defending by Mayo. It's been that's very good defending, keeping him outside him. He never fouled him. Now Philip has it, is predominantly left-legged, so he tried to keep it over on his right leg. Never fouled him. And in the end, free out.
Brian Maloney, Sean Levis still with him. Has options, but Maloney decided to go himself, and he's been fouled by the right cornerback. Once the arm went on the back of the Mayo forward, the referee always going to give the free, and it's James Horan who will take it for Mayo. Horan has scored 11 points in the championship, again out of the hands. Looks better. No. So James Gill couldn't score a free from the 21. James Horan with a bad miss, and will those prove costly late in this game? Not a good start for Horan. The breeze stiffening again. It's in favour of Cork. They lead by a point. Philip Clifford looks a bit winded at the moment out of picture. He doesn't look too happy, but goes back to take his position. This is James Horan. Through for David Tiernan. Tiernan had to be brave, but Cork have it. Joe Kavanagh. As you can see, the positions don't mean an awful lot. Cork have just 3 forwards inside the Mayo half.
It's a very open game so far in the first 12 minutes. There's really nobody dominating the game. Okay, there's a few tackles going in, but it's wide open. It's the kind of football that Cork and Mayo traditionally play.
Martin Cronin playing it into space for Brendan Gerald O'Sullivan. Noel Kearney with him. As you can see, Kearney and Aidan Higgins have swapped wings. This is Owen Sexton. Good running by the Cork right half-back. Trevor Mortimer goes back to take it from him. Sexton is still going. Can he get a score out of it for his team? Finan Murray. Put it wide. Well, that is another amazing miss. Brilliant running from Owen Sexton to set up Finan Murray. And right in front of the post, he couldn't convert. Well, out of picture, Philip Clifford again not too happy. His game may be coming to an end. Martin Cronin of Cork, Graham Canty on the left boot. Canty gives it plenty of air. And is that better? Yes, it is. So the left half-back who played in the half-forwards this year, showing the Cork forwards how to do it. And that was a fine score.
Yeah, fine score by Graham Canty. Philip Clifford's down in the corner, Graham Canty's clubmate now. And since the last the attack he went on there, it was like going 5 rounds with Mike Tyson. He's winded.
Owen Sexton. Kieran O'Sullivan. Well, he's supposed to be playing at full-back, operating more like a centre-back at the moment. It's very fluid from both teams. Fionnán Murray. Joe Kavanagh makes the move. James Nallen not tight enough, but there's nobody in the centre, and Kavanagh not being supported. Wants it on the left boot. He took too many steps, and Mayo get away with it. But Cork just not supporting the ball carrier at all well.
Yes, I think the odd thing there is Philip Clifford. Philip is winded, or he's injured or something in there since the last time he went forward with the ball, and Joe was isolated in the corner. There was no one actually running to support him.
Well, Philip has the bandage on the right knee, but the left knee, as you can see, is the problem. Game stopped at the moment. Cork physio is Jim McAvoy, and they are thinking about making a change. That's Colin Crowley from Castlehaven who's warming up at the moment. But I think Larry Tompkins, well, he's just asked for some guidance from his medical staff. Philip Clifford doesn't look at all happy. Back with the play, Noel Keneally left it after him. Brendan Ger O'Sullivan pulled on the ball on the ground. And the referee is going to book, I think, Brendan Ger O'Sullivan. Had his name noted earlier by John Bannon. So a yellow card for Brendan Ger O'Sullivan. First in the game. Well, that's a sad sight. Philip Clifford's All-Ireland quarter-final over after 16 minutes. Larry Tompkins having to make a switch. Didn't want to make it at this early stage, I'm quite sure. And the replacement, as we mentioned earlier, number 22, Colin Crowley.
Yes, Colin's from Castlehaven, has come on in a couple of championship games so far this year. Very good footballer, very fast, very mobile. Different type of player to Philip. Unfortunately for Philip, after working so hard with his other knee injury, to come back and get injured again today. Hopefully it's not that serious.
Aidan Higgins drilling it in towards Stephen Carolan. Anthony Lynch got lucky with the bounce. Kieran O'Sullivan, lots of space over there. James Nallen first to it with Joe Kavanagh in tow. Nallen looks to set up a Mayo attack. Brian Maloney has looked very dangerous, got a point in the game so far. Levis taken out of it, Maloney still going. Brilliant save for O'Dwyer, still there for Mayo. Taken by Sean Levis, who is having problems with Brian Maloney at the moment. Another good stop. We saw a great save from Peter Burke earlier, this time from Kevin O'Dwyer.
Yeah, two very good saves. With the Cork full back line, he's having trouble in particular with Maloney's pace. He's very, very fast.
James Gill left the ball after him. He hasn't started the match at all well. Trevor Mortimer of Mayo. David Tiernan waiting inside. Mortimer on the left boot. Stephen Carolan, brilliant take by the Mayo corner forward. David Tiernan, oh dear. Some of the Mayo shooting. Remember the two frees from very scoreable positions missed. That was a bad one. This is Brian Maloney charging in. Kevin O'Dwyer, just watch for this stop. Maloney on the left boot. Brilliant save by the goalkeeper. Got out and narrowed the angle. Martin Cronin. Being pressurised by Colin McMenamin. Started the game brightly but has drifted out. Anthony Lynch, did he pick it up off the ground? Referee says no. Colin Corkery coming out deep. David Haney got a touch to it, but he played the ball on the ground, and the referee has penalised the Mayo fullback. He's so determined to get out in front, Tony, that there's almost a panic there.
Yes, there is. Cork are using the quick out to great effect.
Now this is Colin Crowley. Crowley has lost his marker completely. Has to be a point, and is very comfortable, but the Mayo marking not good at all. Crowley only on the park maybe 90 seconds, but he's opened his account already, and Cork opening up a 3-point cushion. David Brady out-jumped by Graham Canty. Brendan Ger O'Sullivan gets his free. Fouled by David Brady. Fionnán Murray. Colin Crowley making a move for him. Murray may not need him. Good distance out, hit it well enough, but it's gone wide. Third wide for Cork. He's had two of them. Well, there's Philip Clifford, a sad sight, taking his place amongst the Cork substitutes. Very dejected, the left knee, as you can see, the towel on it and the ice pack. That's the problem. Very congested in there, Joe Kavanagh. Kavanagh drilling it in towards Fionnán Murray. He missed it, so did Colin Crowley. Gary Ruan, Peter Burke, and now Colin McMenamin. Look how deep he's come. Again, movement ahead, this time from James Horan. Mayo looking for options up the field. Kenneth Mortimer drilling it. Now Brian Maloney, he's looked like Mayo's most dangerous forward in this game so far. Scored a point, had the chance of a goal, brilliantly saved. James Horan. Kieran O'Sullivan just in front of him. Brilliant movement. This is Aidan Higgins up from left half back. James Horan again, a difficult angle. McCarthy missed him. Horan looks for the point and gets it. Just 2 points behind now. Horan involved in that all the way. And some nice football from Mayo. They took a lot out of the ball, but they got the result they wanted.
Yes, very controlled football won by Mayo. Never wasted it. James Horan in particular loves it up here in Cork Park. Very measured shot in the end. Every time Mayo got to All-Ireland semi-final and finals down the years, Horan blossomed, and he scored 4 and 5 points every time he played. It was a terrific score by him.
Well, if you're going to do it, this is the stage to perform on. James Horan getting his 12th point of the championship. Cork on the attack again. This is Graham Canty. Canty held up momentarily. Martin Cronin operating on the right side now. Brendan Ger O'Sullivan. He's got some space. Drilled it. Brilliant save, but it's there for Corkery if he can get the ball. Gary Ruan put him under pressure. That was one of the saves of the championship from Peter Burke. Brendan Ger O'Sullivan got away from the mark of Mayo, trying to turn defence into attack very quickly. James Nallen. Trevor Mortimer. The direct football is working for Mayo when they play it that way. Mortimer looks for space. He's away from Ronan McCarthy, but it's wayward shooting, and are the old problems of the Mayo forwards. Their problems in front of the post coming back to haunt them. This is the Cork opportunity. And have a look at this for a wonderful save. Brendan Ger O'Sullivan hit it with all he's got, and Peter Burke did well to move it away from the goal. Corkery couldn't react quickly enough.
That cameo is a definite example of what Mayo are all about. They win a load of possession, the backs and midfielders get the ball up to the forward end, and they throw all their hard work away.
David Tiernan. Kieran MacDonald may be into the Mayo team pretty quickly, but James Nallen is on the attack for Mayo. James Horan now. Being crowded by Kieran O'Sullivan. Darren foul. Horan still has the ball. O'Sullivan has forced him to foul it. James Horan should have released it earlier. Had Aidan Higgins just behind him, and Trevor Mortimer overplayed the ball. He's about to come in. Scored 4 points against Tipperary in round 4 of the qualifiers. A lot surprised that he didn't make the starting 15 today, but he's going to come on after 23-24 minutes. Kieran MacDonald. We hear that Diarmuid O'Sullivan may be on the Cork team before too long. Nicholas Murphy drilling it, but it's too long, and Peter Burke will let that go wide.
Cork certainly wouldn't like to see MacDonald come on. He's a terrific footballer, and in and around the goal inside, he's lethal. A lot of the Nemo Rangers will remember him from the time that when he won the All-Ireland up here in Cork Park 2 years ago.
It was a great day for MacDonald, for Crossmolina and for Mayo football. They're looking to beat Cork for the first time in the championship, but they trail by 2 points. Graham Canty. Oh, Mayo a little careless. That was Gary Ruan who threw the ball away, trying to get it to Noel Kearney. Graham Canty. Canty looks for a gap that wasn't really there, but he's got his free. Kenneth Mortimer, I think it was, who was a little high with the challenge, and this will be a certain point for Colin Corkery. Mayo know they can't really afford to foul their opponents anywhere inside their 45. The cheer you're hearing from the Donegal supporters as their players walk around the perimeter of the pitch. Colin Corkery. Brilliant. Well, he's not going to miss any of those. If Cork get those situations today, it's his first from a free, his second point. Well, there are some of the Donegal team going up to join the crowd in the Hogan stand. James Gill is going to come off for Kieran MacDonald.
To be unfortunate to be a Mayo forward here today, because you'll be looking over your shoulder, just wondering when is he going to come on.
Well, here he is. Pat Holmes held out for 25 minutes. An inevitable substitution from Mayo, but this, well, he loves playing up here in Croke Park. Let's see how he'll perform. Noel Kearney and Brendan Gerald Sullivan competing for that. It's a Mayo ball. Came off Stephen Carroll, and it's tight and it's tense, and the game yet to really open up. Cork with a 3-point lead. Mayo, well, they'll be disappointed with only 3 points after 25 minutes of an All-Ireland quarter-final. Colin Corkery and David Haney. Haney held on to Corkery for a moment. The turn hardly even looked. That is glorious. Superb. Already he's their top scorer in this game with 3 points. 2 of them from play. An amazing score.
Glorious score, absolutely, so simple. There's only a few people that will give you the tingle factor in the back of your neck when you're watching football, and he's one of them. Maurice Fitzgerald was someone else that would give it to you. So simple when it's done by somebody so natural like that.
Nicholas Murphy, brilliant take. Mayo, their goalkeeper Peter Burke having problems with the kickouts. Joe Kavanagh, lots of time. Oh dear, too much time. Aidan Higgins taking it from him, but Kavanagh has it back again, releases it quicker. Colin Corkery, he's got it again. David Haney in trouble. Corkery drilling through with Gary Ruan. Has he managed to squeeze it over? No. It was a difficult opportunity for Corkery once he was closed down, and he's got the arms out. The umpire signalled that it was wide. John Bannon in having a word. It may well be a 45. Well, here it is again. That's a wonderful catch from Colin Corkery.
I think this is the first game I've seen Cork so far this year dominating totally around the midfield. David Brady and David Tiernan aren't in the game at all at this stage.
Well, that's, I think, Kenneth Mortimer who gets a yellow card, and that's what the chat was about with the umpire. The umpire behind the canal and goal spotting something involving Kenneth Mortimer and maybe Finan Murray. David Tiernan, now Kieran MacDonald. James Nallen making a good run forward. Kieran O'Sullivan looks to get in the hit, and he did just enough to put Nallen off, but then lost his own balance. Brendan Ger O'Sullivan, a pickup. John Bannon was a lot of yards away. Brendan Ger not too happy at all with the decision. Well, they've moved it forward for descent. I think for Brendan Ger O'Sullivan throwing the ball away. So now James Horan is still going to kick this from the hands. Missed one a few yards closer to the Hill 16 goal a few minutes ago. He's got a point from play, and the referee is in talking to Brian Maloney. Another card.
He's going to find it more difficult the rest of the afternoon now, because Anthony Lynch is marking possibly the best marker Cork have.
Lynch held Declan Brown scoreless from play, and that is better, or is it, from James Horan? No. Wide number 5 for Mayo. They're 4 points down, and when you get those sort of chances at this level, you've got to take them. Ryan Maloney has the yellow card, confirmation of that. James Horan has 1 point, but he's kicked 2 wides, both from frees. Nicholas Murphy shouldered Colin McMenamin and just got enough space to get the ball. Owen Sexton. Fouled by Trevor Mortimer. Again, space for Cork to exploit. Nicholas Murphy. Murphy driving through David Brady. Now Brendan Ger O'Sullivan has hit it well. That's a lovely point. His 5th point in the championship. First of this